As most of you know, a few new ones, I'll bring you up to date. I had eye surgery in April and I had an eye surgery in May. It is a genetic condition where the top layer of my cornea was no longer attached to the lower one, which really put it in a very vulnerable state for damage and tearage and erosion and things like that. And yeah, it's as painful as what it sounds like it can be. It causes headaches and things like that. The solution to this is to have the top layer scraped off, and that's just as fun too. And then when it heals back though, it is a one and done. It will be attached, and I will no longer have those issues. I just had my last appointment Wednesday, or not last, but another post-op, and so far things are continuing to progress nicely. Yes, thank you. Much gratitude. So, no one ever really knows going into a surgery and recovery what to expect, and of course I had way outlandish expectations as to what I thought my recovery was going to look like, because I was going to be reading and journaling and watching TV and hanging out, right? No. The first 2.5 days with the first eye, I laid in bed with my eyes closed. The next surgery, I had a little bit of complication with the apparatus. I was in bed with my eyes closed for 3.5 days or so. So, I can listen to so much TV, I can sleep so much, but this actually gave me an amazing opportunity to truly just be with me and be with myself and to actually think and receive and just be. Honestly, I am still digesting all of the cool, amazing things that came during that time, but I'd like to share a few things with you from that experience today. So when people talk about a spiritual awakening, doesn't that sound fun? It's an awakening. It's great. It's a hallelujah, aha moment floating on a cloud. No. Not most of the time. It tends to come from places of confusion and frustration and grief and feeling lost and sad and in pain. That's sometimes where that comes from. And you know, our awakenings can be incredibly intense times of personal growth. And it's our perspective on how it goes. If we focus on all of the pain and the discomfort, that's exactly what it's going to be. But if we can look at it, along with that, as a gift and a blessing, because almost no matter what, something always good comes from everything when we just allow ourselves to move through it and navigate it. It's usually when we're dealing with something that's uncomfortable that we have these awakenings, and it comes from when we actually stop and realize, wait a minute, I can do this differently. I can feel differently. I can navigate this differently. That's when those awakenings will come. It's not always when we're meditating. It's not when we're doing yoga. It's usually in times of need. So the ego likes to keep us in a loop, a closed loop, doing the same thing over and over again, because this, in a weird way, is our comfort zone. It's our known, it's our familiar. It's where we think we have control and know how to deal with things. And that might be possible, but is it trauma and chaos-based or peace and joy-based? Now, intuition is different. It's spherical. It's a spiral. There's no closedness to it. It's open. And it's always imploring, inviting, and asking you to reach deep within yourself, to make small, maybe big, but even just small changes that navigate you into more of the person that you know you are, who you really are, and how you want to be living your future and your life. So intuition is actually your soul. It really is. It's your soul speaking softly to you with this knowledge. And as Annette talked in her talk the other day about trust, it's hard for us to trust it. Why? Because we have given our power away to people, places, and things that are authorities that think they know what's best for us. We listen to that. But the intuition if you can open yourself up and not dismiss it, you will open yourself up to knowledge and wisdom that was instilled in you from the beginning, specifically for you, and it's beautiful. To dismiss it, you're missing out on so much. So, it can be a challenge because we've spent a lot of time listening to those authorities of people, places, and things. But if we take the time to listen to ourselves and be courageous to listen to our own voice. So, Eckhart Tolle says that the peace that you want is actually already in you. It's just that you can't feel it because your mind is making too much noise. Anybody relate to that? Right? And then the other thing that he says is you get there by realizing you're already there. Everything. You and everything is right here. You know, we talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. No, the light's right here, right now, wherever you are, all the time. It's there for you. So, sorry, I'm a little science-minded, I can't help myself. So science has shown multiple ways, lots of experimentations, that our DNA can actually be reprogrammed. Joe Dispenza and others talk about it on YouTube and other things and trainings and things all the time about how we can rewire our nervous system. We really have this capability. This is us being able to take our power back from outside authorities to help us learn how to listen to ourselves, to be in tune with our bodies. You know, when somebody says, "How are you feeling?" how often do you actually go, "Hey, wait a minute." You know what I'm saying? Don't we have our rote answers? How often do we actually, I mean, obviously we're not going to tell that to the people in the grocery store, but our friends and the people, you know, how often do we stop and actually say, "How do I feel?" And actually take that into consideration. And it starts right here, right now. And in this second, right here and right now. In 30 minutes, right here, right now. We're always in the now. And what I want you to see about the beauty of this opportunity is that you get to decide every moment who you want to be and how you want to be and how you want to proceed. That's beautiful. It really is. I don't think we give ourselves that kind of power that we can do that. Okay, let's have some fun. And I have to start off with a disclaimer. No, I have not lost my mind any more than y'all already know I have. Secondly, I was listening to Panache Desai. He's an author and a meditative guy, and he does talks and stuff like that. And he's talked about something, and it really hit a core for me. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to run with it, okay, and add a little bit to it. So I want to make sure I give him credit for that. So I have a confession. I don't know how many of you guys know this about me, but I'm a loser. I am a loser. I really am. And you know what? I'm actually grateful to be a loser. And I pray that some of you are good to be losers with me, okay? And in fact, I know some of you are. You are. But you know what we've lost? We've let go of the programming. We've let go of those patterns. We're making changes. We are giving ourselves freedom. We are giving ourselves liberation. We are giving up attachment to things that can control us and actually make us vulnerable. So, I've always struggled with that concept of enlightenment being destructive. Have you guys heard that statement before? And for some reason, my mind couldn't wrap around that because I'm like, it's enlightenment. Come on, man, we're growing, we're learning, we're seeking, this is great. But not really, because for us to be able to build, sometimes we have to tear down and dismantle that outside programming and get it out of the way so that we can bring that in. Because so much of culture ingrains in us that our value and our worth is in our accomplishments and our achievements. That's supposedly what makes us important, okay? But really, What are you really living for? And what do you really want and are you meant to live for? Because all the things that culture instills in us, these things are impermanent. They can go at a whim. Nothing is ours, even this body. When I check out, this body's staying. Nothing is actually ours when we let that go. So I think I mentioned a couple months ago that there was a forest fire, a brush fire near my house. And it was huge, but like nobody knows anything about it, right? Isn't that the way it works? Something tragic happens in your life, and you think it's big, and like nobody knows. But anyway, it actually started in the field below my house, went up the bluff and into the subdivision above us, went to the right side of my neighbor, and there's just woods between his house, or his family's house, and my house. And I stood there watching flames lick 25, 30 foot into the tree lines and stuff, and logs and tree trunks were catching on fire, and all these firemen were running around trying to get it contained and push it inward and whatever. And it certainly changed my perspective as I was standing there with these other men that were trying to decide what they were going to do too, as I'm like, well, what I take from my house? What can I not live without? I was actually kind of happy to see it wasn't much. My son, obviously. My animals, obviously. And I know there's a lot of motels out there that are friendly with animals. I'm not sure what I'd have done with my chickens. I don't know. But honestly, I did. I took an inventory and thought about, what do I really need? What do I really want to make sure that I take with me? Now this is the beautiful part. 3 days later, Elijah and I are walking around looking and amazed at stuff that's still smoldering. Out of the mouth of babes, my son says, the regrowth that is going to come from this is going to be beautiful. What do I say to that? That is like, I think I'm done, really. I should be done with my talk, because that's what it's really all about. No matter what happens, the regrowth, if we allow it to, is going to be more beautiful than we ever anticipated or imagined. And I know that's hard to say, because people, places, and things are lost from our lives and leave voids. But it's still met its purpose, run its course. What is the most important thing? The relationships that we have. And most important is the relationship that we have with ourselves. You know, because that's where it's divine. That's where it's permanent. No matter what changes, our relationship with the divine, that is infinite. That is forever. That doesn't go anywhere. That's the one thing we can count on, no matter what. So the mission is to become that pillar of light, to change your frequency so that your light shines to the world. That's what it's about. And everybody's at such different places of growth and understanding. Share your story, plant your seeds, but the greatest thing you can do is to work on and focus on your vibration and allow the energy that radiates from you to be the thing that does its job, does its magic, does its work. Your part is to just keep your vibration up. I think that fear of losing, fear of not having things often stands in the way of us having that freedom to let go and not allow the attachments to be more painful for us. But I'm going to remind you again, nothing actually belongs to us, not even our bodies. And this is hard for me because you all know that I lost my friend of over 20 years. And after I would leave service, when I did my talks, I always talked to her. She always asked me how it went, how it was received. And yes, the human part of me and the loss that I feel is real. And it's not to be ignored by any means. But it's to understand that the relationship I have with myself and my spiritual divine and divinity, that's what teaches me to take whatever darkness, whatever hardship, and make it a tool, and make it something to navigate me through, to help me get to the other side. Now, have you guys ever heard of the term toxic positivity? That term being thrown around a lot. And it's been, I think it's kind of that Susie sunshine all the time, through everything, without even accepting any of the reality of things. When I say stay positive, I want to make sure that we define what that means to stay positive. That does not mean that you're happy-go-lucky all the time. That does not mean that every day is filled with joy and peace and pleasantry. Not at all. What it does mean is that you have the faith and the knowing that there is positive to come. It will pass, and there will be better times to navigate through. It's about us choosing the peace over the drama and the mixed emotions. So, something I'm quite frequently guilty of and I'm trying to get better at is when I'm in a time like that where I'm navigating something tough, I want to do. I mean, that's when I like, not that I don't spring clean normally, but man, I just like clean the baseboards and closets, and I just do, because I'm actually a fixer. I want to fix. I want to avoid. And that's really not allowing ourselves sometimes. My friend called me on this, by the way. And maybe it was during my eye surgeries, I'm not sure. But it reminded me that it's good to not judge yourself on your productivity. Judge yourself on whether you're present in the moment. Because that's not feeding into that authority of what they know is best. It's us giving ourselves what we know is best. Because really, there's nothing to be fixed. There's nothing that is broken at all. What it's really about is us giving ourselves space. Because we are in pain, and it's about healing. It's about giving ourselves the love to heal. Two things. One is just a tip. That energy that you're spreading out, if you're not where you want to be, and you feel like you have done enough reminiscing and things like that, and ruminating, and you're trying to change that, sometimes it's as simple as getting up and moving into a different place. If you're on the couch and you're wallowing in it and you're like, okay, I'm done with this for right now. If I need to come back to it, I will, but just get up. But get up with intention. Get up and be like, okay, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go into the kitchen. And I love my kitchen. Oh, the sun's shining through the kitchen. I'm gonna make myself some tea while I'm here. That will help you shift your energy. So anytime, and it's something very simple and very easy that just kind of helps you move it a little bit. Because if you sit there and try to be like, okay, I'm gonna stop thinking about this, I'm gonna stop thinking about this, I'm not gonna think about this anymore. Yeah, right. We're feeding it, right? Okay. So, just remember that little tip. And as a closing, this truly is a precious privilege that we have to be alive, to be breathing, to be feeling, to be living, to be loving. It really is about us doing as much of that as often as we possibly can.